All right, folks, I'm Tom Downey. You're watching NFL Daily, presented by BetDSI. Let's take you outside the top 10 now for picks 11 through 21 of my latest NFL mock draft. Now, we start things off here with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I like this pick, and as long as he's on the board, probably won't change all that much. That is Devin White, the LSU linebacker to the Bengals here. Top linebacker in this year's class, will probably end up being a top 10 player for me overall on my board, which is by no means finalized yet. But positional value could push him down. I don't think he's quite as good as Roquan Smith, although he is a very, very talented player. But what teams need a linebacker? Denver probably won't. Buffalo probably won't. I could see Oakland pulling the trigger there. Maybe the Giants if they want to value that position. Maybe Detroit, but probably not. I think that top 4-ish range as high as the Oakland Raiders. The bottom out for Devin White, really, I don't see him getting outside the top 15, top 16. Too many teams need a linebacker there. He'd be a fantastic fit for a Bengals team, which could legitimately look at a quarterback as well if they want to blow it all up and reset under new head coach Zach Taylor. Number 12, a common mock pick for me so far, Jachai out of Florida. Want to make note that I was on him early, and I was right. Some of you guys in the comments section didn't see it coming, but he did had a breakout year in 2018. Doubled his career sack and tackle for loss production, which on one hand, okay, that's a lot. You don't want to double it necessarily, but he did have almost 20 and 12, 19.5, 11.5 in total. Packers need edge rusher help this year. They'll look at several spots. I could see tight end being an option here, safety, or even just linebacker overall. I wouldn't totally rule out receiver or offensive lineman either, but I would bet at the Packers focus on defense, at least for that first pick in round one, if they don't cut Jimmy Graham and like to stick more with a tight end. Now, we'll get to the rest of my picks here, but first, today's show brought to you by BetDSI. It's the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. So you put down $50, and BetDSI will hook you up with an extra $60 for free to bet with on March Madness. College basketball, obviously, we got a pretty lengthy wait to bet on the NFL, but there are plenty of futures bets on there. So go sign up deposit. And oh, by the way, if you guys use Bitcoin, that bonus gets even bigger, becomes 150%. If you need help with Bitcoin, because we know not all of you necessarily super familiar with it, we'll take care of you. DM us on Twitter @ChatSports, and we'll help you guys get that set up. To number 13 now, Greedy Williams. And every time I do a mock draft, because the offensive linemen get pushed up and quarterbacks get pushed up, there's a really good defensive player that falls beyond 11 or 12 for me. In this case, ended up beating Greedy. Now, not everyone is super high on Williams because he was, I thought, a little bit inconsistent at times this year. He can have some Jalen Ramsey moments, the good and the bad. Dolphins, they could go offensive line. They could go defensive line, both inside and outside. How about another cornerback? No, they were, I thought, fairly open about not feeling comfortable with their number 2 guy. I thought it could have been Cordair Tankersley, but he didn't make much of an impact this year. I think it would be Greedy Williams, Xavier Howard, and Williams. I think would be a fantastic duo in Miami. Now, they could also go quarterback. So should the Dolphins draft a quarterback in round 1? Type 1 for yes, type 0 for no. If Miami is really focused on the 2020 quarterback class, I get it. It's not a great class this year for quarterbacks. I think it's very poor. I don't see many legitimate guys that can get you to the next level. I don't see that many guys that are really that much better ceiling-wise, or at least realistic ceiling-wise, than what Ryan Tannehill has been so far for the Dolphins. Number 14, Rashan Gary. Unless he doesn't have a good combine, this is about as low as I see him going, at least in my own personal mock drafts right now. He was limited by injury this year, and the production, frankly, wasn't very good. But everyone is expecting Rashan Gary to test well. Now, my question is, does Rashan Gary measure in like the 90th percentile of guys? Comes in, let's say, around 278, less than 287 because he's not that big. Maybe comes in around 6'4", and runs in the low, in like the 4.5s as some think he's going to. If that's the case, bump him up, maybe get rid of that 1 and just put him at number 4 overall. I think he'd be best as a 3 technique because I don't necessarily see the alleged testing speed translate to play speed as well. But Rashan Gary could blow up the combine. If he does, he's going to go really early despite not having the best production at Michigan. At number 15, whoever I mock Daniel Jones to going forward, I'm just going to apologize. Redskins fans, I am sorry. It's a poor quarterback class. Washington has nothing going on right now. Alex Smith is banged up. I don't think he's going to play next year. And NFL teams are going to be higher on Daniel Jones than a lot of the media scouts, a lot higher than I am going to be. I binge watched Daniel Jones not that long ago, finished up almost all of my evaluation there. He has an average arm and played in what I call the Dink and Daniel offense, or the Dink and Duke offense, whichever one you want to call it there. That was a check down, RPO, quick read option offense that didn't actually ask Jones to do that much, in part because, well, Duke's other pieces on their offense weren't very good. But yes, he played for David Cluckiff, and I think he's going to do very well on the whiteboard and test and interview well and all that. I don't see a lot of upside with Daniel Jones. I don't see a super high ceiling. I think he can be a decent enough game manager, but I think that's all you're going to end up getting out of Daniel Jones in the long run. So sorry, Redskins fans, and sorry, Daniel Jones fans too, I guess. So we mentioned quarterbacks here. Over or under 3.5 quarterbacks will be taken in the first round. Type O for the over, U for the under. We mentioned Daniel Jones. We mentioned Dwayne Haskins. We mentioned Drew Lock. We'll get to the likely other quarterback here in a little bit, Kyler Murray, but I think there's been a bit of a change, at least in the way I view him in terms of his commitment to football. Now, if you guys like the NFL Draft, which I assume is why you're watching this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/chatsportstv. If you're watching YouTube, just hit that button right now. We will have all kinds of NFL Draft content for you guys, plenty of mock drafts, news, rumors, prospect rankings, combine stuff. So go subscribe right now, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Moving to number 16 now, Clelin Ferrell out of Clemson. I think would be a good fit for the Carolina Panthers. Now, they need a couple different routes here. I think safety makes sense, so Deontay Thompson or Nasir Adderley. Offensive line, several guys make sense. We'll get to a little bit of a run here in just a little bit on offensive line in my mock draft. But they also need a pass rusher. And Ferrell, who I like a lot, probably isn't going to test in the same way a Brian Burns or a Jachai Polite will. I think he'd be a good fit for Carolina in a what could be almost a 4-3-3-4 hybrid scheme this offseason, but he was immensely productive. I like him a lot. I think this would be a fantastic pick by Carolina, who, I'll be honest, I haven't loved their drafts in recent years. To number 17, Byron Murphy out of Washington. I love this kid. I call him Denzel Ward West. So he's a perfect fit there with actual Denzel Ward for the Cleveland Browns. That's a fantastic tandem. I think he'll be an instant impact guy at corner. Not the biggest guy. He might check in around 5'10.5", 5'11". Could add some more weight, listed at 182. But he's a good playmaker, not afraid to tackle either. I think he would be a fantastic fit for a Cleveland Browns team, by the way, that really doesn't have that many needs. So Browns fans, let me know in the comment section, what is the biggest team need for Cleveland this offseason? I thought about cornerback, left tackle potentially as well, defensive end or defensive line. Cornerback is also an option there, receiver too. Overall, the Browns, I think they're in really good shape. To number 18 we go. That is Jeffrey Simmons out of Mississippi State. I think this is right about the Jeffrey Simmons range here. Now, he could be at 17 to the Browns, could be at 19 to the Titans as well, but I like Simmons. Vikings, Sheldon Richardson's a free agent. Tom Johnson's a free agent. They could use another defensive lineman. I like the idea if I'm Minnesota. If you missed out on those guys, adding Simmons. Oh, by the way, if they cut Kyle Rudolph, their tight end, this is a logical fit for one of those Iowa tight ends, Fant or Hawkinson. All right, folks, I am wearing a Mizzen and Main shirt, so go check them out, comfortable.af. That URL, it also checks out. You guys are not going to find a more comfortable shirt, dressed or otherwise, than a Mizzen and Main one. Back to the mock draft here. Number 19, Montez Sweat goes off the board just inside the top 20 to the Tennessee Titans. And he drew quite a bit of buzz at the Senior Bowl. He does have some good burst, but cornering, bend, that kind of stuff, I have a little bit of concern there. The Titans, though, need a partner for Harold Landry. I think Sweat is a surefire first-round pick. I like him quite a bit. I think he and Landry would be a really nice 1-2 punch. Sweat a little bit longer and taller than Harold Landry is, so you kind of have that contrasting style of play there. I think those two would really help out the Titans' defense, which, frankly, was pretty good as it was this year. Then to number 20, Devin Bush of the Michigan Wolverines to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I figure Pittsburgh's going to target the back seven here. be it a true free safety. They need cornerback help, but I don't think Baker fits for them. DeAndre Baker fits for them per se. They do need a linebacker, though. And Devin Bush, although undersized, is a perfect fit in today's NFL. Now, not eye-popping production the same way that maybe a Devin White had it, but then again, Michigan's defense wasn't on the field all that often because they had a very good defense last year. So Bush to Pittsburgh, I think it makes plenty of sense. A logical fit there as a 3-4 inside linebacker who definitely fits the athletic profile that Pittsburgh really, really likes at the top of round one, or I guess in round one in general. All right, let's recap then my picks 11 through 20. Devin White, Jachai, Greedy Williams, Rashan Gary, and Daniel Jones. The only offensive player, by the way, I have listed here from 11 to 20. And it's Clelin Ferrell, Byron Murphy, Jeffrey Simmons, Montez Sweat, and Devin Bush. Go figure. It's a stacked defensive draft class this season.